in a world of like,
in a world
that's growing more.
I knew you wasn't gonna be able to hold it. Yeah.
We in Jurassic Park here? That is becoming more and more politically correct, and cancel culture is becoming more of a thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like we have a more of an emphasis on sensitivities and feelings than previous generations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see, given that, what are some of the ways that you approach comedy in either a private setting or a public setting, and how you use that in general, and how you have those boundaries, how you, this is like 10 questions in one, but I'm gonna keep going. How you maybe go about controversial conversations, tough conversations that way. Because something we discussed beforehand is like, I think it is something, comedy is something that I think God gave us to potentially think about and talk about these interesting and like tough subjects.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways I feel like I can answer that question. Let me see.
Questions.
Yeah, I think comedy as a tool is just like a kind of like, just to reiterate what you said a little bit. It's a great way to have discussions. It's an open door to have discussions about difficult topics that would typically make people feel really uncomfortable or tend to avoid or sweep under the rug. Mm-hmm. But doing them in a direct way that's very lighthearted. It's like pitching a ball at somebody, but very gently, and it kind of just like floats towards them, and maybe like a bubble just pops on their face.
SpongeBob.
And you're able to, something like that. Yeah. Shout out to SpongeBob. Only seasons 1 through 3 though. Everything after that, trash. Not sorry. Yeah, how do I use comedy though to approach these topics? I mean, a lot of times I'll just be direct. It depends on how I'm feeling, or what I'm feeling led to do from situation to situation. Like, I did a video about, like, I think my first IGTV video was about like an analogy about sexual assault. It wasn't really comedic, I'd say, but it was lighthearted, and I used an analogy to describe or try to explain to people what it might feel like for somebody to take advantage of you. And it reached a bunch of people, and the people were able to receive it because it was just like, okay, sexual assault is bad, and here's why, and this is what happens, and here are statistics, and this is very heavy, and it's weighing you down, it's making you feel over. Like, nah, just like, okay, this is the deal, blah, blah, blah. And that like opens the door for people to be like, oh, snap, I never seen it that way. And they can enjoy watching it, and then it like kind of lets their guard down, and maybe even encourage them to go look into it even more, or like have a conversation with a friend, or open up about themselves, or open about the experience they've had, or like ask somebody else about theirs. And it helps people to be vulnerable. I think comedy does a great job of helping people be vulnerable. So like in like this politically and racially charged climate, it's like, especially in America recently, I know there's like a lot of people whose platforms are much more dedicated to kind of like, there's a couple of names I'm not going to mention, but there's like one person in particular that's coming to mind, who will take, like, for example, he did a sketch on like the whole Capitol Hill situation. And he took like, he'll go so far, but clearly be really funny about it. It's not like he's trying to tell people what to think or anything like that, but he'll over-exaggerate exactly what happened and just say stuff as it is. And it's kind of like he's become cancel-proof for doing that, because it's like he's not trying to hide anything, but being direct about it through comedy. Again, it's a way to just kind of let people's guards down, disarm them, to open up the door for conversations. But I don't know. I'm not as bold with using comedy to talk about tough topics. I'll usually take a more like direct approach.